Good morning, everyone. Zachary Chitwood here again, and this time I will be talking to you about financial literacy and why it's important to learn earlier, high school, K through 12, most likely starting around middle school, with a more heavily required semester, at least, of financial literacy class. So 35% of students don't see education past high school as necessary. There's actually a lot of legislation that is getting passed now that jobs will not be able to make bachelor degrees mandatory. They more so experience. I know people that get out of the military just have the experience. Some of them don't go to school. So there's that. 63% of students are considering alternatives to a four-year degree, whether that be trade school, and only 13% of students actually feel confident and prepared to make decisions about their future. So financial education can actually bridge the gap between graduating school and entering the real world. It's actually one of the things that no one ever really teaches you. It's actually just became recent that a lot of states are making it a mandatory thing. So even in high school, kids that work those part-time, full-time jobs, dependent upon what they do, don't have the financial background to know how much money they should be saving, what they should be investing, things like that. Like budgeting, understanding taxes and how those actually work, because no one ever really teaches you that. Credit scores. So there's the earlier that you learn financial literacy and responsible financials can actually be more beneficial in the long run. So becoming an authorized user on your parents' credit card at an earlier age. Some banks don't actually have an age limit. I know I personally have my daughter as an authorized user and she's 11. I'm actually looking on adding my 2-year-old and my 1-year-old on a credit card so it builds them a credit history sooner rather than later, so they have a long-term credit history when they turn 18 and actually go into the world. So there's that a lot of people don't actually know about. So you can actually help your children and whatnot. I know I had a kid as a senior in high school, so there's a lot of things I didn't know back then that I wish, there's a lot of things I know now that I wish I knew back then. So in 2024, 35 states actually now require a personal finance course to graduate. From 2022, only 2 years ago, 23 states had that requirement. Before then, it was actually a lot lower. In the last 5 years, it's actually gone up significantly. So with that increase in the last 2 years, that alone in those 12 new states is 10 million K through 12 students that will receive financial education knowledge. So the regulations, legislation is actually a step in the right path. It's guaranteed learning and knowledge dependent upon the curriculum and what they specifically teach for financial responsibility. So schools can offer financial education through dedicated courses, integrating financial concepts into existing subjects, economics. I know a lot of people, at least in high school, I went to high school in Florida, I had to take an economics government class. We also had AP macro and microeconomics as well, which I did not take. Kind of regret not doing that, but I wasn't really interested in taking college classes in high school. So there's that. providing students that are actually interested in learning finance, books, resources, activities, even like financial clubs, like to go beyond past just the semester learning. The best thing is real world application. I know when I was in high school, we always talked like, how is this going to be effective in life? Like, what am I going to know? Like, why do I have to know Pythagorean theorem? Like, stuff like that. This is actually stuff that will be used for the rest of your life. So it's something that students can actually apply. So, budgeting, savings, stock market, stuff that people never teach you, how to do your taxes. I think it was in economics, we actually learned how to balance a checkbook, and I haven't looked at a checkbook for years. So that's one of the biggest things about financial education. So, and it's California specific because I know the school is in California. I plan on teaching in California. August of 2023, the governor in California actually signed an executive order mandating a semester of financial literacy, which is supposed to start in 2027-2028 school year, which might be the first year I actually start teaching. So that was nice, actually looking at and seeing that what I wanted to teach, or at least start a club when I started teaching in high school, was actually something that was a lot people actually thought of before me. Something that people actually wanted to implement, which it's cool that it'll end up being that 2027-2028 school year, because then that might be what I actually start teaching. So in conclusion, financial education, K through 12, whether it start in middle school, which it can, but I don't see it being really as effective there as it would freshman, sophomore year in high school, maybe 8th grade. But you definitely see it being more beneficial in high school, because you could teach it in college, but I don't really see, not everyone goes to college. Like we said off the statistics, 63% of kids don't see a post-high school education necessary. So trade school, kids that go to trade school have that background in financials where they have to pay for their trade schools, but they don't have to worry about student loans. It kind of it'll be beneficial all around, but it will be implemented more effectively for them right out of high school, going to trade and getting into those trades. So that kind of is better for them, because they're going to see money sooner than the college students. And even going into the Navy, we didn't learn the financial thing. Thankfully, we had, the financial advisors and those resources available to us in the military. I know I can't even remember the name of it now, what the Navy actually called it, but like a financial counselor per se. So like kids that just made E5, or if they were E4 for so long, that wanted to go live out in town, we would do their budget, see if they could afford paying their rent or mortgage, whatever, with utilities and everything, and see if it was an actual, because BH doesn't always cover all of your bills. So it was eye-opening for a lot of them to see that. So investing in a financial literacy class or education of some kind for high school students, whether they join the military right out of high school, or go to trade school, or go to college and have to work a part-time job and manage their financials, it's beneficial across the board for everyone. And even if you just teach basic things and don't go into so much like the stock market and Roth IRAs, S&P 500s, all those investing strategies that a lot of people use, but you have to actually research yourself, will make a huge difference, especially with inflation. And I saw something about Texas having a $1,900 average rent, so your average hourly pay would have to be $19, but the average, or the low, I can't think of the words, minimum wage, there we go, the minimum wage in Texas is only $7.25. So where are you getting that other $12 an hour? It's things like that over 9 out of 10 people are stressed in some form, and the majority of them say it's financials. So in conclusion, legislation is going in the right way, and financial literacy is going in the right way, but it's one of those things that a lot of people could push for more to get it moving more effectively, faster. Yeah, that is it. Thank you.